Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Onimonogatari. Tonight we're on episode 3. So, what happened last time? Episode 2, great question. Episode 2 was pretty much a big storytelling of the Kiss Shot past, right? So, Kiss Shot 400 years ago, we jump back then. We got her story of, rough recap of her, where she was in Antarctica for a while, which was funny. That's still kind of crazy to me. But so she was in Antarctica, but felt her like essence as a oddity begin to fade because no humans in Antarctica to keep her myth alive. So she jumped over to some lake in Japan, and then boom, started pretending to be a god, right? Because she landed in like a divine lake, and it became a big thing, right? However, that went sour when a glob of darkness started eating people, and then ended up eating 3/4 of her and everything but the hand of the like vampire hunter that she was in cahoots with. And then in her solitude, she took a into the hand to give it vampirism to make the entire dude come back alive, thus raising her first minion. And he was very upset about that, and then ended up killing himself later. There we go. There were a couple interesting details, such as I forget the blade. I need to open up my pot player, my thing to actually watch the show. There were a few interesting things, like there were the two swords as opposed to just the one sword that we've seen the entire time. It was like the oddity healing sword, which was quite interesting, right? Let's see, Onimonogatari episode 2. Sorry, your boy do be a little scatterbrained, okay? All Monogatari episodes I watch at like 5 a.m. It's not quite 5 a.m., it's 4 a.m. But, you know, your boy always is a little bit unhinged whenever we're watching the show. But yeah, so Shinobu told us this story. There were the two swords. That was kind of interesting. We got some... It's nice to actually get like a kind of more concrete story of an oddity from like a perspective that's not Araragi's, because we get so much from Araragi's perspective that it's kind of hard to tell, you know, or like, we also get oddities from other people's perspectives, but it's more so like getting one that already happened in the past and kind of getting Shinobu's, as an oddity, her perspective on it. I feel like it was extra helpful to kind of flesh out what an oddity even is, which is something I've been yapping a lot about recently. But yeah, so that's the rough thing. Let's, boom, open the comments. So, not too much that I'm trying to talk about here. I think this will probably be a shorter episode, unless something crazy happens in this episode that I want to yap about. But I don't think I have too much to say in this intro section, because honestly, like, last episode, like, I guess the darkness we could talk about, but otherwise a lot of it was very self-contained in that it was just Kiss Shot, like, elaborating on a story that we haven't heard before, but we already kind of knew the pieces to. Which, I mean, exactly what I'm talking about is, like, we go back to Kizu, which was eons ago, which, I mean, just rewatch value, right? That shows the rewatch value. This... like, because, yeah, the craziest thing is that the minion had called her Kiss Shot. That was, I think, his final words, right? I mean, I'll scroll through the episode and catch that for sure. But, yeah, no wonder that's, like, such a sensitive thing for Shinobu, Kiss Shot, whatever. And why that was kind of a weird thing with her and Araragi back in Kizu. Yeah. It just makes you think how much of this was, like, written all the way back in Kizu. You know, was this entire story concocted and then Homeboy was just waiting to drop it on us, 17 years later? This was about the Shinobu voice actor contracts, the OP thing. We yapped a little bit about this. This is the Kuchiyanawa breakdown, which is something that we've been going back and forth on a lot. The breakdown of this century. It's... Let me... Actually, I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna read this, skim it, and then talk. Okay. Yeah, so the important things here that I wanna point is the two talismans. So we've gotten the talisman from Oshino way back in Monogatari, right, which was to ward away the bad energy. We did look at those two talismans on screen, because I saw there was like the shot in freaking Otori, or all these names, man. Otori. In Otori Monogatari, there was the shot of her with the talisman, and I compared it, and they were different. So I definitely see them as different talismans for sure. So I'm good with that. It is kind of insane that like it was premeditated by Sengoku and Ogi. The thing that I just I don't know. I think this is really true, and I didn't really think about this, that a lot of the scenes that were kind of oddity-esque that we saw could have just been Sengoku embellishing her own story, because, you know, she's the one telling the story, of course. So it's like, because I was thinking of the snake a little more literally, where she would actually be seeing it and hallucinating. I don't know how much she really was hallucinating in retrospect because of the whole faulty narrator thing. So yeah, I feel like I am more comfortable with it just being completely within her head with this part with the whole faulty narrator thing pointed out. So I like that. The disgusting truth is that she used her guilt of killing those innocent snakes to make herself believe there was some snake god. That's fake, trying to make her atone for her own crimes. True, very true. Beliefs very important to oddities. And then one of the things that was causing a lot of things is like, why, like, I'll just read this. But a single half-baked belief like that wouldn't be enough to become an oddity that strong, nor I doubt it could even be its own oddity if it was that easy to do, so she still needed that charm that Ogi told her. Right. I like that. It's just, the charm, it's just crazy because she's so strong that is it literally just her plus the charm and that's enough? Or is it her plus the charm plus snake god ancient religion? Right? And honestly, it's not that important. The charm being part of the equation definitely is important, but trying to push it farther and be like, oh, how much is it the snake god's death tomb and blah, 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 blah. I don't think any of that's really important and it's going to come back up. It's more so just fun to like think about, oh, like how do oddities even work in this world? Because it's always been a little ambiguous, right? But yeah, I like this. I'm feeling good about this. This is how I think about it. Maybe on crack and miss something obvious. Oh yeah, I really like, so there was some really good stuff in here. The thing about the darkness is, like, neither Shinobu nor me has any idea, like, how it works, right? And so I think I agree with this interpretation of it, that, because I was kind of thinking for a minute there that the negative energy that was supposed to turn into oddities instead formed into the darkness, and then that's what caused problems. But if that was the case, she probably would have noticed the negative energy. I was kind of thinking that it turned into the darkness in a way that she wasn't able to notice, but I don't know, that doesn't make that much sense in retrospect. So, but I really like this idea that there is no negative energy because they're not talking about the myth of Kiss Shot. You know, they're not talking about the myth of an oddity. So instead of getting what they would normally get, instead of there being that negative energy, it was absent because there was no Kiss Shot for it to gather around because the myth of Kiss Shot wasn't alive. I like that idea. Then the question becomes, why did her pretending to be a god somehow lead to the darkness show up? It like is that connected or is that non sequitur? That's just where I'm stuck. Because yeah, I threw out some ideas for what the darkness could have been last episode, but I mean I'm not locked into any of those at all, right? I like this idea though, and it's just like, is there some sort of force that the darkness represents that stops an oddity from changing in that way, like the force against change or something? And this is like the rebuttal of the system. I don't even know what the system is. What am I even, you know? Yeah. Nadego's snake power comes from her delusion. The people that believed in the god gave it power, so when the religion died and Nadego is the only one who believes it, she believes it's powerful, then it's strong. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. So she believes it's powerful so much because there's that entire dead religion, and because she has this talisman, and because she's a little crazy with it, that's what makes her so strong. But it's still entirely fueled within her. It just has those pieces of evidence that give it its fuel. I like that. And yeah, the perception of the oddity affects them. Same thing with Shinobu and Araragi. Completely agreed. The brainstorming about what could happen to Araragi's dad. I do think the show's going to talk about it at one point, which is why I started going off about it for sure. But yeah, I don't think necessarily in this arc. It's kind of one of the things, and I'll get to that in a second here with this stuff. I'll actually just get to that right now. This actually first real quick. I'll make sure to check the OP's name because I don't remember it. So this is kind of, let's see, I'll just read this bit. I feel like you concentrate too much on the overall general stuff, and maybe too little on the actual things that happen during the arcs. I don't know, this is not a please change how you do stuff, but more think about it maybe. So yeah, Have been thinking about it, maybe. Pog. I think Cappy says it here. Well, let me just start with like my thoughts on the matter real quick. Because this is talking about reaction meta as like the reaction as opposed to the monogatari, right? So a little bit of a different thing real quick. The reason that the episodes are so long is because you know, this is obviously a bit long, right? 150 157, and like the reason they're so long is because I spend a lot of time just yapping about what comes to mind and different like ideas that have been cooking in the back of my brain, not necessarily that have to do with a specific arc, right? And so what I could do instead is focus in on the arc a lot more specifically, but what that's going to do is just easily shorten the length of all these episodes down like a pretty substantial amount, right? Which could be fine, which totally could be fine. Because like for example, right, like I talked a lot about the traffic lights and the Araragi dad stuff in the last episode, right? And then the episode before I talked a lot about like the freaking snake stuff and like the nature of oddities and parsing through all that stuff, right? But like so like the traffic light thing specifically, I could have just not talked about, and I mean it kind of had to do with the episode a little bit because Ogi walking up to Araragi at the beginning of Onimonogatari makes me think that Ogi's gonna somehow become a important part of this arc, and so I was thinking, okay, let me go back to the first time that Ogi and Araragi have met, because I feel like we didn't really talk about it then. Let me see if I can pull any things, get those ideas ready so that we're ready for when this stuff happens. That was the idea there, but how much is that actually going to matter? And it could be a hindsight diff for sure. I think that was a good point. But yeah, so like if I wanted, I could easily cut all that nonsense out, right? Like right here, boom, that's 46 minutes gone. But I don't think cutting that out is going to lead to me talking about the other stuff more necessarily. Because, like I don't know. All I try to do is talk about whatever comes to mind as much as I can. Because there's a lot to talk about. But once I run out of things to talk about, that's pretty much when I end the episode. And there kind of is like a soft cap of 2 hours that's been going on where, like, I just really start to gas out around 2 hours. So I don't know. Maybe there could be more room for more episode discussion. But I don't know. I'm kind of the impression that if I were to... Let me scroll back down here. If I were to stop concentrating on the general stuff as much, that we would just lose episode length and not necessarily gain anything. Now, that could be fine because that would make them more concise. And so people that are getting like a little annoyed or whatever about it being overly general and not applying to the arcs, like it would appease them. But based just off of like analytics, right? Because I mean, I do have this thing where I do kind of try to say like what's being talked about here a little bit. And then like, oh, you don't want to hear any of this? Like, boom, you can jump to here. Or, oh, look, the OP analysis. Or, oh, the ED analysis, right? Like, so I try to segment it very specifically so that people can skip what they don't want to watch. Because I don't care if you're skipping around. Like, do whatever you want, you know? And, yeah, right? And maybe people are watching on Pixel Drain, so they're getting like hoed and not realizing that this is a thing. But yeah, definitely this is a very... The chapter thing right here. I have it at the bottom every time, right? So yeah, what was I going with that? Oh yeah. So I think though, based just off of analytics, because I look at the stats and where viewer retention is, blah blah blah, and based off of having this as an option, that I think there are enough people that watch this stuff. I mean, it's like pretty much like whenever I go on a big long spiel about stuff that doesn't have to do about the specific arc, it gets about the same viewer retention as when I don't do that. As far as I can tell. I mean, I did a couple comparisons because I was interested. So yeah, I think, I don't know, I could probably do better about being more concise. It's a tough show to be concise on, for sure. This show definitely takes the most brain effort and the most like academic effort, if you want to call it academic. It feels a bit more in that wavelength, in that brain set though, than like anything else I watch. So I don't know. The skill is not quite where I want it to be, for sure. But yeah, so definitely I'll keep thinking about that. Just want to give a little bit of feedback on that. And like Cappy here, I think says it pretty well, right? That not necessarily being less focused on what's happening, but more so there's just a lot to say, and that past events get referenced a lot in the show. I mean, literally this entire last episode was about the story we heard about in Kizu, right? So if your boy hasn't constantly been thinking about Kizu, then I'm gonna just like Kizu is really soft in my brain. I would love to go back and watch a lot of Kizu. But then if I do, obviously I'm not talking about this arc. I'm talking about Kizu, and I can try to connect it in, but it kind of gets weird. But yeah, which he did not even talk about in the past election. For this show specifically, I think this is the way, but at the end, that's just my preference. So yeah, I don't know. This show's crazy. And maybe it is a hindsight thing. It's also like, I don't know, can you overanalyze something? I mean, yes, but as long as you're having a good time, can you? Because, I mean, whenever I'm yapping, I'm having a good time yapping, right? And the goal is for people to have a good time thinking and bouncing off the yap. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just some thoughts. Let's immediately just jump into scroll through. Wait, what is this? let me just hear this timestamp real quick. Oh, it's me looking at Kiss Shot. I mean, Kiss Shot was looking fine last episode. I won't pretend. I miss grown-up Kiss Shot just a little bit. Grown-up Shinobu as Kiss Shot just a little bit. So yeah, let me just boom Onimonogatari episode 2. Little bit of a scroll through. I don't think there's much to talk about. That's the crazy thing. When I ended the last episode, I was just thinking like, wow, like I got no gas in my tank right now. The friggin' Araragi head tilt, man. The shaft special. Yeah, the two katanas, the one large, one small. The small one is the healing one, which I did yap about, implying that there are good oddities, and then of course Kiss Shot acting like a god, which is like a positive oddity, right? Because it like blesses the village, is something we haven't really seen because we've mostly seen negative oddities. But Hachikuji's been pretty positive. Like, she hasn't really been a negative oddity. It almost feels like she's a neutral oddity that doesn't necessarily help people, but more so is just like, doesn't really, like, her oddity behavior doesn't really do anything specifically. It's not like she hoes people or helps people that much. But kind of separate from that, she's become really good friends with Araragi. So, definitely not like an evil thing, though. I mean, I guess she wanders around with people that are in that specific mindset, the whole like lost from home thing. But that doesn't feel like evil in the same way that a vampire is, right? But then even we have Shinobu, who's ended up being a bit more complicated than I thought, especially with this history of her kind of being a good oddity for a while there, like the whole god thing. Yeah. I really liked that characterization for her, at least. And then anything happening? Oh yeah, and then he gets mad at her. She doesn't really help it, and he kills himself. And I think his last words, yeah, right here. But in the end, he called me Kiss Shot only once, right before he committed suicide. Even then, he called her Kiss Shot, which is just so very sad. He ceased to exist. He left behind a replica of Heartspan, which he intended to kill her with. Right. Okay. With this bad ending, the curtain falls. Dog, we got 2 more episodes. So, we still need to deal with the darkness. Is there any thoughts I have on how to deal with this stupid darkness, man? I mean, running away from it works. I think it's just because the issue was, the thing that's similar both times is that Kiss Shot's legend of being Kiss Shot isn't really a thing right now, because she's Shinobu, and then back then in the time skip, she wasn't really Kiss Shot either because she was the god. So by not being Kiss Shot, I mean, it is darkness, so maybe it's like some idea of like the vampire's shadow, like the legend of Kiss Shot has conglomerated into darkness itself, and that is because like it's, yeah, maybe that's a thing, because like the legend of Kiss Shot is still being spread around the world. It's just she's not acting as Kiss Shot, so it's not applying to her. So perhaps it's forming into its own mass. It's like a Kiss Shot mass, because right now she's Shinobu. So anyone talking about Kiss Shot, like, it's not powering up Shinobu, necessarily. I feel like she's kind of running on fumes in that way. And then back then, it was the god thing. So I guess that's kind of an idea that I like. thoughts, many decisions. I am drinking a Dr. Pepper with vanilla added. I don't actually think I'm gonna be drinking this at all though, because it's late and I don't need more caffeine. Because your boy do be kind of cracked on the caffeine. But yeah, I kind of want to just jump into this episode 3 of Onimonogatari. Yeah, should be a good time. I'm really curious if Ogi's gonna show up in this arc, because Ogi was in the beginning, and as the theme has gone, the beginning is a very big part of the end of each of these arcs. I mean, shoot. I mean, Ogi and the darkness. I don't know, man. Ogi's just pushing people into traffic. I'm sick of the Og. I actually like Ogi a lot. I just need to understand Ogi. That's my only issue. That's my only lament. Okay, episode 3 of Onimonogatari. Let's get this going in 3, 2, 1, bang! Oh, sorry. My audio was a bit hoed. Oh yeah, Hachikuji's asleep. I forgot. Right, running away worked. Okay. Those. Ooh, wow. Oshino's shirt there. That's so sick. It's also interesting. He's thinking of like people going missing, and he thinks to Oshino because Oshino's gone. You know. I wonder if that's at all a thing. Wait. Did something happen to Oshino other than just him leaving, and he just pretended to be leaving? What do you mean? She's lying? What are you talking about, Ononoki? What? Okay, you were outside the door. They're about to fight. Again, they're about to fight again. A rematch? I like how Hachikuji's still just big snoozing. She's just chilling up there. Narrow-minded. Bro, she's shaking. She's mad. You do. Araragi really thought. It's funny because they can't even, like... Wait, what's the name of this? Is it not going to tell me? Where is it? Where is the name of this? It's not going to translate it, man. I'll just have to look it up. Or somebody can either say in the comments, or I'll just look it up to before next episode. Secrets, regrets. I mean, I guess Shinobu could be hiding things from me. I mean, why am I just trust her so much. I don't feel like she would be. Like, I trust her more than I trust Ononoki by a lot. Because, like, it's my girl Shinobu. Oh, this OP goes so hard. I love this OP. The eyes. Hachi, Ononoki, Gaen. Dude, Gaen's gonna show up. Wait, Gaen's gonna show up this arc. Why is Gaen gonna show up? We haven't seen Gaen, like, at all. Yeah, we're fighting! Oh, nice Goomba stomp. Yeah. What a Giga Chad. You have all three. Aragi, you have all three. Was this Shangri-La? That's funny. Barely Seifu. That is how he is. Dang. Good question, Shinobu. It's Shinobu. He has the deepest connection to Shinobu. I don't think, like, picking in my, but come on. Yeah. Oh, otherwise I have no idea if you take that out. Yeah. Ooh. He dodged. He dodged the question. Whoa, she denied the dodge. Wait, that's crazy. Yeah. Oh, good morning, Hachikuji. Like an Olympic sprinter. I mean, I just need a compilation of every time he does that. The Hachikuji run. What a classic. Like a seal playing with the ball. Wow. It's like Mozart to my ears, isn't it? Isn't it, Araragi? Dude, he's using this as a way to... He's literally dodging again by using Hachikuji. Which I guess is incredibly in character for him, right? To dodge from issues by harassing children. Good combo! Good combo! See, this is good team building between a masochist paradise, between Ononoki and Shinobu, and Hachikuji. It's good team building. Araragi plays the villain to get them together. Aw, now they're so sweet. I guess. The examination... Okay. Oh, she's healing! Magic girl! Good stuff. She's repaired. Guess this shows the strength of yours? Aw, he thought a very genuine, sweet thought of her. He would never abandon you, Hachikuji. That's not Araragi. I was also happy you didn't ignore the red light. You're being considerate to me, huh? Divine punishment. Hachikuji's rallying them. Okay. The team building. That's kind of fitting for Hachikuji to be the leader. Huh? Oh, what? Oh, power struggle. I mean, Ononoki's not the leader. We can get that far. Right, yeah, that's kind of pressing. Mayo equals 10. Ononoki equals 12. Oshino Shinobu. Hachikuji trying to bite Shinobu up there. Okay. Different rules moved it. So who can? It's, I mean, Ogi is so weird. Is it just connected to Ogi? And, you know? Gaien? You're gonna call Gaien? Yeah. She do know everything. That's what she told. Ah! That's what she told homegirl Hanakawa, right? Oninoki not sweating though. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! She must survive. Good clutch. In the shadow. Out! Do the blast! Do the blast, Ononoki! Ononoki, please! We don't have time! The void, the void. Yes, vertical. Good move. Thank you. Use Big Finger Blast. Like a Pokemon move. I'm so excited to talk to Gaien more. We just never talk to Gaien. And I have no idea what she even is, man. Other than, like I know her a bit, right? But I don't know. Why is it weak against vertical movement? Such a specific thing. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's about right. She keeps passing out. Yeah. Why is it? Hey, why is his pant button undone? Guys. When did you get friendly? It is only theoretical. That is fair. It's just, it's worked 3 times. 3 times is kind of a charm. I mean, what? Is it have its... I don't know, man. Yeah, okay. Okay. That examination. Maybe it's a weird meta thing. I mean, I don't know. It being meta would make... The basis of requires you to ask? Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk to Gaien. Let's go talk to Gaien for sure. I'm just thinking, like, it being so weird and not having rules that make sense could mean it's literally on a meta layer. What? Okay, 13. For our route. We preoccupied. That's right. Weird. We could just call her, but she'll abandon me? Are you referring to Shinobu by that? That's right, right? Yeah, okay. I thought for a split second. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why isn't she coming out? Yeah. Did she make it? Did she make it? The OP has her turn into to vapor. Do you feel her presence? Araragi. I'm beginning to worry. Is she unconscious in the shadow or badly injured? I mean, we saw her go into the shadow. I mean, but who knows? Maybe the darkness followed her in. Because we don't know the rules of it, right? It's strange that she isn't. Okay, she got yoinked. She got... We have to provoke her. We have to provoke Shinobu by kissing you. I think the darkness got her. But she's gonna be okay because she's in the future arcs. I'm pretty sure. I'm like almost guaranteed. Yeah. Like chronologically. Break it down, Hachikuji. I saw her go in the shadow. She's definitely gone. He can feel her though, which means the darkness doesn't erase you. Whoa, what are you doing? I didn't know you could do that, Ononoki. Yeah, she's not in the shadow. She's gone. Oh, dang. It had a little tendril. But I think he can still feel the link, though. Yeah, like she's not dead. She's just in Shadow Realm. Though, I mean, is she still kind of nearby in a way? Because, yeah, well... Okay. Comorbidity moment. But in this situation... Wow. So she sunk into it. Wow. Yeah, and she described her relationship with the guy as as if it had never existed, which is kind of how Ononoki just described it. Cockroach, glowing. And left her behind. What? Fireflies. So many fireflies. I want to apologize. Though I know it won't cheer me up, I still want to apologize. I want to see her. Aw. How dare it do that to Shinobu? I can't think straight. That's what that said. Oh. But why? Does it only work with immortals or something? Oh, that, yeah. Oh, that's why you passed out for 12 hours. Good point. Good point. You gotta live, Aragi. You gotta live. You have to stop being so reckless. I love that. That's really interesting. Okay. You have to be more careful. Yes, but she's in the shadow, so it won't matter, right? Really? You think so, Nanoki? Oh, because you're both distant. Not okay, because it's not death, it's distance. I think that's I think that's true. That makes sense. Dexter. Dexter. Ooh, we haven't heard this song in so long. I love this one. I feel like I haven't heard this in so long. He texted a bunch of people. I've become such a caring man. You misspelled something. Don't worry. No. Troll, the Hachi troll. I love Hachikuji. She's a little rat. A weak signal, just like their relationship, Araragi and Shinobu. That's crazy. Too far? Okay. Let's ask someone in one of these houses. We're asking a random stranger? I thought oh, they're all leaning on the shell. That's cute. Who are we about to meet in one of these rooms? We're gonna meet freaking Oninoki. Or, Ogi. Oh, interesting. Gotta be sporadic with it. Oh man, it's been so long since Oshino's been around. I miss Oshino. Amongst the balancers. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Upperclassmen. Yep. Hmm. This episode is so weird. It's so much slower than most episodes, I feel like. Like, the pacing. I like it. It's such an interesting change of pace. I have to meet up with my lifelong partner. Oh, is that gone? Oh, speak of the devil. What a coincidence. Though I'm the one who's been waiting. Fire. Okay, okay. Well, we know she was coming because she was in the OP. So, girl's about to spit bars about the darkness. I don't even know what to take from that, man. Like, that was so odd. It was like a... Is the show being weird, or is like my mentality changing? Am I hitting a new level of enlightenment right now? I don't know. Like, it felt almost like slightly slice of life or something, where it's just kind of them wandering around. It kind of reminded me of early Bake, right? Like, Kanbaru and freaking Araragi just yapping at each other about sexual innuendos outside the school for 20 minutes, you know? Like, it felt like one of those episodes. Or, like, the first episode of Maoi Snail, before, like, a lot of the plot comes in. It felt like one of those, like, talk episodes rather than, like, a plot episode. Because, I don't know, I feel like most episodes I've been really looking at, like, a plot, as opposed to just, like, chatting. Which maybe is getting away from the spirit of Monogatari, because it is a very chatty anime. Oh, Shinobu, I love you. Hachikuji's been asleep over and over again. What is... Oh, I'm sorry, I paused. That was misplay. It just got ruined the timer. Oops! I forgot about this. Okay. Approaching 20 episodes at a fast pace. Why not reach 40? Fire Sisters spin-off, yes. She knows of a way to suppress it. Suppress the darkness. I know everything. Okay, God. Neighborhood beauty contest. What are we talking about? Shinobu time. Onimonogatari part 4. Vampire familiar ghost. Is this the... Oh, this is the darkness. This is the darkness here. And the darkness is like... It's attached to Shinobu. It's not attached to Araragi. As much as I want to try to attach it to Araragi. But it's attached to Shinobu because it's, you know, because it was her minion back then, and that's when it showed up for the first time. And I don't think she was lying. I trust my girl Shinobu. It's just Ononoki spitting, like, as if, you know, she's saying, like, oh, why you trust her so much. Like, that's my girl right there. There was a really insane flashing bit here where they flashed, like, 1,000,000 shots. And I just gotta know what that even is. It was, like, in this 13 area. Literally, oh my goodness. Is this just the panic that Araragi's feeling? Gotta frame by frame this hoe. There was a lot of flashing in this episode. I'm not gonna catch all of it, I don't think. Come on. She wedges between us like a bookmark. I wager they're making me out to be the bad guy now. That was brutal. I mean, these are lines that we said earlier, right? These are flashing bits that were earlier in the episode. This is a disaster. Hachikuji's scream. She's completely beaten up. Anybody could have told them. Putting up that much of a fight. I can't believe it. Her 3 days of supremacy are over. I have a strong feeling she's hiding something. If you want something of me, then just kiss me to get my attention, you shy little girl. Oddity Slayer. Is her existence as an artifact spirit prompting that frustration? As an artifact spirit. It's like darkness itself. Guy and Izuko. Man, that's really just his train of thought. That's so, like, it's so sporadic and just like, bam! And then it just comes down to Gon for him. I'd be like, I need to ask her about this. And then she shows up right at the right time, which is also what happened with Hanakawa. It's weird. It's like, we have characters that just show up in the nick of time. That's, like, kind of something that happens over and over. But with Gon specifically, I mean, she shows up and then, like, just straight up explains the Hanakawa thing about the tiger, and then says, like, I have fun, and then leaves. I mean, that's me, you know, obviously paraphrasing, but, and then here, I assume she's just going to be like, oh, this is how you fix it, basically Pog, done. And, like, probably demean Araragi a bunch while she's at it, because she's being mean to, you know, Hanakawa back then, saying, like, I don't know, I don't remember the specifics, but... What's happening? Why does everything feel so weird? I feel like the entire energy of the show shifted. I think I'm just tripping. I think I'm tripping for sure. It's also a very unique episode because we're dealing with the three like lolly characters, right? That's a first. We've never had all three in one episode like this. So it was a very special occasion. Especially for Araragi, of which Araragi made sure we knew. To be more precise, it could be that the pairing was eradicated. He reaches for her, but she's not there. And the tree in the backdrop. Okay, this shot actually goes hard. Wait, was the tree there when it was with her? The tree wasn't there, but then when she's disappeared, then it's just the tree. Is the tree represents his lone wolf thing at all? Because that tree appeared for a reason. Oh, don't you think otherwise? That's interesting. Bro, I just want to become a tree. I feel like I don't know that like my idea of Araragi's like tree thing, of which I honestly don't know enough and I'm missing a lot, but my current understanding of it is it seems so appealing. Just be a tree. And I yapped about that the other day, but like boom, here it is, like very intentionally being in the shot. Though maybe it was just a perspective thing. Let me just watch this again to see if there were a couple different shots of him with Shinobu there. Because otherwise, it's kind of almost saying, like, that the tree is representative of, like, the lone wolf isolation that he was in Kizu. Because, I mean, is Kaiki alone? Could you make that statement at all? That Kaiki doesn't, like, have attachments to people, and that's why he's the dead tree? And then Araragi, of course, is attached to people. Oh, because this tree was dead, too. Because, yeah, like, in the background here, when it's just him alone, it's a dead tree. Or a tree with no leaves, right? And that's... So maybe that's kind of that comparison. That's, like an isolation thing. So him without that relationship, he's a dead tree. Him without relationship, period, is like a dead tree. But him alive, flourishing with all these relationships, is a very, you know, fulfilled tree. That's, like, leaves and everything. Interesting. I wish Kaiki was here so I could talk to Kaiki about this, but Kaiki's not here because this is just one random scene in the back, in one random shot, you know. The darkness overlapped your shadow? What is this darkness? Why is it overlapping his shadow? That's so specific! It's like, I don't understand what it represents. Shadow tag, the worst shadow what? Ever. The worst shadow tag ever. If contact with my shadow back then broke the pairing. So this mysterious force got into his shadow. His shadow is, like, kind of his connection to Shinobu. Bro, the end of Bake was so good. What a good episode that was. When Shinobu popped out of the shadow and bit into Black Hanakawa, that was... I loved that episode so much. Just random flashbacks. In other words, Shinobu is no longer tied to my shadow, right? It's just, this is another one of those situations that I get stuck in really easily, where it's like the metaphors for all the characters, it feels like something's being done with the metaphors, like what they represent thematically, but I'm not quite catching it all. But that's just because I don't know what the shadow is. I feel like once we know what the shadow is, we're gonna make a lot of moves. His immortality thing makes sense to me. I didn't accidentally just skip to 4, right? Yeah, okay, we're good. Him, you know, using Hachikuji as an escape from his awkward conversations, totally good, makes sense. That's about the Hachikuji experience. Them all beating him up in a giant pile and him being in heaven, that's about the Araragi experience. The seal thing is so funny to me. What a just an absolutely insane thing for this show to be doing. It's also funny that like, why is Shinobu trying to, like, get him to rank her against people? Because obviously it makes him uncomfortable, and she knows that because she's, you know, attached to him emotionally. So Homegirl's, like, aware that makes him uncomfortable, and she's doing it intentionally to make him, like, uncomfortable. But, I mean, I can't help but think that there is a level of, like... I mean, is there a level of jealousy, or is she only just poking at him because she knows? I feel like her relationship with Araragi should be pretty secured after that kiss. I feel like she should be pretty locked in. I think she's just being a rat on purpose, to poke at Araragi. Which is funny, because nobody's letting Araragi get away with it, and then he just runs to Hachikuji as, like, an ultimate escape hatch. And then they all beat him up, and then they move on, right? Because he refuses to answer that. Yeah, man, he reminds me of Hanakawa, because he's just so, like, he refuses to rank them all. It's almost like an accepting of everything thing, right? Which was the whole Hanakawa thing, which, by the way, I love Hanakawa. Hmm. Hmm. So I think the most important thing, though, and I don't know. I'm almost feeling like wrapping it on this final thought because it's been a while since we've had a nice, just normal hour-long length episode as opposed to like a really long one. Um, which I think is healthy. I think it's healthy. I don't want to keep pushing it over and over because your boy has been pushing it, trying to get put a lot of hours into this stuff. But I think there is something to be said about the concise stuff, and not spiraling into insanity too much. But I don't know. The thing that I think is most important here is that Aragi is having to live right now, but he can't live without the immortality shield. He's having to live without being as reckless as he usually is. And so I think that is gargantuan because usually he can be so reckless, and that's kind of an excuse for him to be self-sacrificing. It's almost like a half self-sacrifice because he can get super hurt and be fine, but right now he can't do that, and he's distant from Shinobu, which is his attachment to like all the like the broken pairing, a lot of the suicide ideas, right? So his distance from that, along with his inability to self-damage, that's very intentional. It's just, what is he going to do now that he has this, that he can't hide behind that anymore, right? It's almost like he's lost that ability as a coping, he can't use that as a coping mechanism or as, at least an action anymore. I would kind of say coping mechanism a little bit, because your boy does seem to desire his own, he wants to sacrifice himself, or die, So perhaps this is him, putting up some boundaries with Shinobu, or at least the suicide things that Shinobu represents. And so perhaps by the end of this arc, he'll be in a better spot with that. Or it's the opposite, and it's getting worse. And that's why he's not as safe anymore. So it's he can't, it could go both ways. It could go both ways of him, somewhat, him being forced to value his own well-being for a while could get him in the habit of doing so going forward, even if he goes back to being pretty immortal. Versus him being a lot more mortal and vulnerable for this moment could let him see, he could see that as a chance to self-sacrifice, do all those things that he's done in the past. That's kind of the question of if he's able to change there, because I think that's kind of the crux of what's going on. That's kind of the core of a lot of what's going on. I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. Really interesting episode. I really like that tree shot. Is there any other shots in here that I'm trying to final little pass? The darkness. I'm curious what the kanjis are that are in the darkness, because I don't know. I can't read that language. So I am curious, because it does seem to be a mix of a bunch of different words. Maybe it's just the word darkness over and over. Shout out freaking Hitagi Crab, which was just crab over and over, if I remember right, and it had all those things on it. But yeah, very, very interesting. I do think that's all I really got for this episode, though. Episode 3 of Onimonogatari. Until the next episode 4. Of course, if you like the video, subscribe. If you're new, blah, 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 comment below if you have anything to say, or join the Discord and talk to me or other Monogatari fans there. But until then, until next episode, also hit the notification bell. I always forget about that one. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bong, bong. But until the next episode 4, that's all right. I'll be seeing you. Peace.